Your dreams may be closer than you imagine. When I was living in Japan, I was an English teacher, and one of my students came to me with a dream to meet James Brown, the famous Godfather soul, I feel good. And I said, no, that's not possible. James Brown is very famous and he's not reachable. And she said that that was her dream from when she was a little child, when she first heard of music. And she asked if we could write a letter to him. And I tried to persuade her not to do it, but that's what she wanted to do, so we did it. We wrote a letter to him. At the time he was in prison, and I felt that we would never get a response from it. And a couple weeks later, sure enough, we got a reply from that prison he was staying at. And I read the letter, and I didn't believe it was his, because the chance of connecting with James Brown is very remote. So, but at the end, it said, James Brown, I feel good. And I was like, oh wait, maybe this is James Brown, you know? So we sent a second letter out to him, and we got another response back from him. I'm like, wow, this is seeming pretty real, or it's a great joke. And then the third letter that he sent was a letter we didn't get. And the father hid the letter from her, and it was a letter that said, I'm coming to Japan, Tokyo, Budokan, to do a concert. Sony has hired me to do this concert, and I would love to see you after. And she found the letter while she was cleaning her father's office, and it was tucked away under the mat, and she pulled it out. And we had already went to see the concert. It was too late. So I spent 1 year trying to get in touch with the Godfather, James Brown, and no luck, but she was relentless. She said, we got it, you know, I got 3 letters, we got to meet with him. And I called his studio, anyone who would hear me out. And pretty much she was like, no. And then we called a guy in Augusta, Georgia, where he's from. His name is James Brown, thinking that he was the James Brown. She found it in the directory, and we called him, and the guy started laughing. He goes, everyone makes a mistake. He's like, I'm not the James Brown. But he goes, you know what? I have a lead for you. I had a letter from his attorney that came to my house by accident, and I know who his attorney is. So then I started trying to connect with James Brown, attorney. That was out of Georgia. Atlanta, Georgia, and his name was Reginald Simmons. And so I called his office over months, and you know, couldn't get in. And then somehow we got his home phone number, and I called him on a Sunday afternoon, and he answered. He was very angry. How did you get my number? And you got 1 minute. And I said, listen, I got these 3 letters from James Brown. I gave him the story. He said, I'll tell you what, you fly into my office and bring the letters, and if they're authentic, he said, we'll make it happen. So boom, we're off. We fly out to Georgia to meet James Brown's lawyer with the 3 letters, and he told me, the Japanese gal in hand. And we get to his office, and we show him the letters. And at first he was kind of leaned back on his chair. He's like, yeah, right. And then as he started reading the letter, he started propping up in his chair, and he was totally amazed. He goes, you know, he doesn't write anyone, and this is his penmanship, I know. And he said, let's go out for dinner. So he took us out for dinner, and after dinner, he was driving us back to the hotel. He calls James Brown on the car intercom, and he goes, Mr. Brown, I have a friend of yours from Tokyo, Japan. And James Brown goes, is that Hitomi Kodaira? So he knew. And he goes, tell her to come in tomorrow. So Reggie picks us up in the morning. He drives us over to the studio. And we walked in, and it's all leopard skin, you know, studio. And she's sitting there on the sofa, and I'm sitting there, we're waiting, and he was busy, and then like quite some time passed by, and finally the door opened, and he emerges, and the Godfather soul is right there in front of us. I jumped out of my seat like, and he goes, "Stop me!" So I intercepted, I gave him a hug, and I said, "James Brown, it's great to meet you." And then when I backed away, the lawyer said, "That's Mr. Brown to you," So he told me she was so frozen in her seat, she couldn't get up. She was just so shocked. So I pulled her up, she, connected with James Brown, and then we talked for some time, and then he said, "You know what? You guys are my guest of honor. I'm calling my family in." So he brings the whole family. We have dinner together at the Sheraton, and then he asked me to lead prayer before dinner, and because he knew I did yoga, and I'm like, okay, so I did my prayer thing, and he gets out, he goes, "Man, it must be that yoga thing," So he was really impressed. So we went to dinner a number of times thereafter, and he always asked me to do prayer every time. So as we were closing that dinner, I said, okay, we did it. We got the pictures. She met James Brown. The deal is done. And then he gives her a kiss when we're leaving, and I said to him jokingly, "Oh, that's the first time she's been kissed by men." I don't know why I said that. And he says, "Man, I'm telling you, these Japanese girls are good. Not like these American girls, Then he goes, "You know what? You guys want to come to my ball tomorrow?" He had a big Christmas ball. It was like an ABC, 50-year salute, whatever, James Brown. And so next day we show up. He gets us tuxedos and a gown, and we're at this Christmas ball for James Brown, And so I'm at this big round table, and they're all introducing me. They said, "Oh, I'm doing this movie. I'm the governor. I'm playing for the 49 football players." And then they got to me, and like, "Who are you?" I'm like, "I don't know. I'm still trying to find myself." And anyway, so Mr. Brown, James Brown, comes up to our table and with his wife, and and introduces his wife and stuff. And then she asked me, said, "Do you think I can dance with him?" And so I asked, he goes, "No, he's not with her around, So anyways, we wound up going out there on 3 different occasions. And one time he invited us to Las Vegas, and he had a big, celebration for him. And he actually had us in the front seat, and he told me on the stage in front of thousands of people, and he's dancing with her. And she's stepping all over his feet. She doesn't know how to dance. Hope she's not watching this. But anyways, so long story short, if you dream it, you can become it. And this lesson in life with this young lady, her dream to meet James Brown, it came real because she dreamt it, and she believed it, and she created it. And it was quite an experience. It was for me as well, because who wouldn't want to hang out with the Godfather? Aloha, thank you for watching this video to the end. This is one of 22 videos that I made for you to help you find more happiness in your life. If you'd like to see the rest of the 22, click the link below, and I'll send the rest of them to you for free.